Hello, my name's Eric Meeks. I'm the broker owner of Remax Desert Properties, and I'm also known as the Realtor Guy. And today I want to talk about just how the neighborhoods in Palm Springs got their names. Okay, because these days, if you look at a current map, as provided by the One Neighborhood Association or One PS Neighborhood Association, all those different colors are different neighborhoods. And while some of these neighborhoods were around when I was a kid, and by the way, I've lived here since 1976, like the Little Tuscany neighborhood was definitely here. The Racket Club Estates, which got its name from the Alexander family, who did a lot of the construction in that neighborhood. The Las Palmas neighborhood and the Vista Las Palmas Estates, which is where the Elvis Honeymoon Hideaway is, and it runs along the backside of the more traditional Las Palmas neighborhood. But then there's some neighborhoods that you might not realize the history on, like Warm Sands. How did that get its neighborhood? Or the Sonora Sunrise, that there. The neighborhoods in general picked a landmark around where they were, which is kind of screwy because if you look at this map here, which is a Google map of the home, but a little more bland, you can see right here in the middle of this area is Ruth Hardy Park. But that's not called the Ruth Hardy Park anymore. When I was a kid, you would just say, hey, where do you live? I live over by Ruth Hardy Park. It wasn't called the Movie Colony East, okay? Because you had the original Movie Colony here, which was here at that time. You can see Movie Colony showing up. And that was named because you see where it says El Mirador? Well, where the hospital is now was at one time a very famous hotel called the El Mirador Hotel that really helped to get Palm Springs on the map by bringing a lot of Hollywood celebrities. Now, when they first started buying homes here, one of the places they looked was the Movie Colony. So there's a lot of celebrity history in that neighborhood. And you can see old Las Palmas here. A long time ago, and well, still now, you've got one of the rock kind of pillars that says Las Palmas on it. It's on Palm Canyon. But that neighborhood was called the Las Palmas, of course, for the palms, but done with a Spanish flair to it. Some of the other neighborhoods, like the old historic tennis club, pretty self-explanatory. There is the Palm Springs Tennis Club that butts right up against the mountain in that neighborhood. If you look at here, just right off of downtown, and look at all those tennis courts. So that's the old historic tennis club. Now, the neighborhood that I grew up in as a kid, seems to be having a tough time floating back, but that's okay. Right around here, this was the municipal golf course area, and still is. And so for those of us who lived here, it was just called the municipal golf course. But some people refer to this as the Broadmoor Estates, okay, because that's what this was called at one point in history when it was originally built, again, by the Alexanders. A lot of the homes in that neighborhood are the 1960s Alexanders that were done. And then, like here where Bob Hope's house is, it was called Southridge. Now, this was by the builder who kind of led the charge up here, and you have Southridge Drive that was named for it. But then right below that, here, kind of a hodgepodge of houses, a very nice neighborhood now, but at one point, it was, just off the wash, and this was not expensive real estate. And a lot of older homes here, 30s, 40s, 50s, okay, even pre the mid-century craze that were built in here. But it's called the Araby neighborhood because when Palm Springs was first being developed, okay, and I don't know, maybe first, but let's go back to like the 1920s, okay? It was often referred to as the Little Araby because a gentleman, he was a colonel, major. Anyways, all the way back in the days when we had cavalry that would come through here, there was a man named Blake, Colonel Blake, who first referred to the area as being very similar to Saudi Arabia. In those days, it would have just been called Arabia. Okay, so there was a lot of comparisons between the desert here, and that's why we have date palms and palm trees out here in the desert. And this neighborhood was started very early in Palm Springs. There's been a lot of adding on through the decades, but it's called the Araby neighborhood. Now, if we come just a little bit over here, we have the Los Compadres neighborhood, and then you have the Sonora Sunrise neighborhood. And it's called the Sonora Sunrise neighborhood because look, the main street, which of course I can't pull up the name on it. If I get close enough, there we go. Sonora Road and Sunrise Way. So this neighborhood was largely called the Sonora Sunrise neighborhood. And a lot of this happened. There was some naming of neighborhoods earlier, but in the 1990s and newer, the neighborhood started really wanting to have their own identity, and they began to get organized largely for political reasons, but also to improve the price ranges of the homes, because a named neighborhood creates desirability. And so that was done. Now, notice over here in what's called the Los Compadres neighborhood, all around here. Now, down here, we have Los Compadres Club, temporarily closed because of COVID, but right there, riding stables. Okay, that's what Los Compadres was, and that goes back a long way. If you go back to, gosh, the 60s and newer, and even still, I mean, it's done a little bit, but 80s it was still done. I used to go horseback riding as a kid around Palm Springs, and you could rent horses. Los Compadres didn't rent them so much, but out of the back end of the Smoke Tree stables, you could go renting. And the Smoke Tree neighborhood was named because you had Smoke Tree Ranch right through here that was named for it. This is a very exclusive group of homes. They keep a lot of raw desert around them. And then you have the Smoke Tree Shopping Centers, the original one right here, which is where my wife's Remax office is. And the next to it is a newer Smoke Tree. That's done. Another neighborhood that was named for a ranch is the Deepwell Ranch Homeowners Association. So here, as you can see these streets running next to each other up and down through here all the way to Mesquite. That's a single development that they're all about the same age. They're not always all the same builder. There's some of them in there that are, but they do vary. And then we have the Tahquitz River Estates, which are named because you have the Tahquitz Creek Channel. And if you've ever been here kind of February through April, there's usually water running down through it. So it is the Tahquitz Creek, and hence the name Tahquitz River Estates. So just different ways that neighborhoods got their names. Back here, the Canyon Country Club. Okay, and you have Canyon South, and then the Andreas Hills, which is named back here. Andreas is one of the family names of the Indian tribes. There are several of the Andreas families still living here in Palm Springs now, probably several generations of Andreas families living here. The Mesa neighborhood, you can see it right there, kind of coming in on the map. This is one of the really nice neighborhoods, large lots, large homes, named because it all goes up on a rise like a mesa, especially as you get further and further onto the mountain here. It actually, some of it qualifies for hillside development. And a beautiful neighborhood, also feasible land in that neighborhood, which is nice. I'm trying to see if there's anything else. Some of these were named for developments like, what's the one down here at the end of the runway? Not on that side. So Skater Brothers. No, Vistachino. There we go. This neighborhood. Try to remember the name of this. I'm going to get killed for it. It's the something Ranch Estates. I forget, but another development that was built by the Alexanders. The Desert Park Estates, which is this out here. Okay, it's been that for a long time. Don't exactly know why that, but probably the builder who built a lot of the homes. There was a lot of building in here during the 1980s. A lot of the fill-in happened during that time, 80s and 90s. So I would believe it got named there at that time. But there you go. That goes through a lot. The El Mirador, obviously named for the El Mirador Hotel. The Sunrise Vistachino. Now, see if I can pull up the name of this one here. This used to be another ranch right in this area. Chia. Harriet, Patricia. No, that doesn't click. Anyways, I think I've hit on the majority of it, and you fast forward those kind of efforts, and that's how you get to this. Okay, movie Call Me East, Rogers Ranch, El Mirador, Oasis del Sol, that was named just, I don't know, the last decade or so. And now a lot of this can be found by Google searching Palm Springs Neighborhood Association. Warm Sands, which I talked about, that was named for a hotel. There was the Warm Sands Hotel. Supposedly, one of the owners of it was Bob Hope himself. But I'm honestly unsure of that one there, but I see that they claim that. I'm going to give it to them today. But Warm Sands was named for that. Baristo neighborhood here named for the street, Baristo. Oh, not there. It runs right through the middle of it. There it is. Kind of hard to see. Arenas. Oh, why am I not? Ramon, Baristo. Oh, there it is. Off to the side over there. Runs behind the high school. So a lot of the names came up in more modern times in the last 20 or 30 years as people wanted to have an identity for the neighborhood. And here's one. We can end on this one here. Okay, Demuth Park. Okay, when I was a kid, this was known as the Veterans Track because a lot of these homes were built just after World War II, and they were very economical, and they weren't very big, smaller lots, and made them affordable for the GIs coming out to the desert. And there was a lot of GIs who were staying in the El Mirador Hotel because it had been transformed into a recuperating hospital for GIs coming home from World War II. And a lot of them wanted to stay on and live here. And so a developer took advantage of that and built the Veterans Track, now known more for Demuth Park, which is the largest facility within that neighborhood. So there you go. That gives us a little bit of highlights on some of the neighborhoods. My name's Eric Meeks. Please, if you like my videos, subscribe to the channel, like below, and if I can ever do anything for you and you don't know where to turn, or if you just want to say hello, please reach out and contact me. You can find my contact information all over the internet. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thank you for watching The Realtor Guy on YouTube. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more, please like and subscribe to this channel. We release new videos just about every week with helpful tips for real estate agents in the Palm Springs area and around the world. Thanks again for watching. I'm Eric Meeks, The Realtor Guy, signing off.